Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of The Final Whistle from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my partner in crime, Austin Williams from Sports Talk with Austin, as we go over a weekend full of wild finishes and so much more. And let me tell you something, folks. It's going to be a wild ride discussing a little bit about the Mount West title, the Big 12, the ACC, Big 10, SEC, AAC. We got it all for you. And it's going to be a fun one tonight. How you doing today, good buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, Jackson. Championship weekend once again delivers. We had a classic ending to the ACC title game. Oregon, Penn State lived up to the billing and then some. And we're going to talk about all that, and we're going to talk about Ashton Genty and Boise's quest for the bye, or Arizona and Cam's skidboat or scatboat, and Arizona State's just scatboat. Thank you, scatboat. The rhinoceros, as they like to call him around there. We're going to talk about it all today. This is the most fun I've had during championship weekend in a long time. This was fun. One of the most fun weekends I've ever had.
Well, you ready to get started with what's been going on in Boise?
Yes. If you want to start off with the potential Heisman frontrunner, let's do it. I'm all for it.
If he isn't, well, he should be. Because I'm going to tell you, Ashton Genty, did you see that bat flip he made after it was official that Boise won?
Yes.
Yeah, he was celebrating.
He's an athletic freak.
Oh, yeah. Agreed. Oh, man. Like the magic that Spencer Danielson has done at Boise State since Andy Avalos got fired last year. I mean, can you believe they had a guy named Andy Avalos? Like,
hey, as they always say, Jackson, when one door closes, another opens. And Spencer Danielson walked right through that door. So, you know what? Took it, he ran with it, and Boise's now to be reckoned with in the college world. So
I gotta ask you, and this is something that just crossed into my mind, and I gotta ask the chat here. Do you think he's kind of like the Nets Chris Peterson for Boise State? Because it was like, yeah, Brian Harsin was good, but he wasn't anywhere near as damn good as Chris Peterson was. Like when Chris Peterson was coaching Boise State, they were always winning the big ones against the Oregons, the Oklahomas, the Virginia Techs, the Georgias of the world. They were always winning the big games, the ones where nobody was really thinking about them winning. And, Spencer Danielson, I mean, yeah, they haven't beaten Oregon this season, but it was a close game that a lot of people definitely should have gotten the Peacock app for. I mean, it's a damn good reason to buy the Peacock app. And, his coaching record is 15-2. And I'm going to tell you, anybody that's not thinking about him as a future coaching candidate, well, they better start with irons hot. And, yeah, UNLV lost to Mount West Huggy, but we got to remember, when Barry Odom came on into Vegas as the head coach, this was not exactly known as a winning team. This is just they're just a downright awful, miserable team. But what does Barry Odom do? He changes the culture completely. And what's most impressive about it is the fact that when their starting quarterback was leaving in the middle of the season because somebody was whipping him up, yeah, Hodge Malik Williams takes over the town in Vegas. No Sluka, no problem. You got a new man named Williams. And this guy was magical. Like, my God, the man was magical. And it was a shame they lost Syracuse in overtime. But, I mean, oh, well, it is what it is.
I want to bring this up, Jackson, because you brought up a fantastic point, and that is, when you talk about the culture of Barry Odom, we'll give Boise all their flowers. We'll have plenty of time to talk about them in the future because they're going to the playoffs. I want to shout out Barry Odom because, like you said, when he took over UNLV, it was a dumpster fire. It wasn't a very good program. It was a dung heap, as you like to say, Jackson, your favorite word. And for him to take this team to the Mountain West Championship in just his second year as the head coach at this program, they have nothing to be ashamed of. I think they're going to be a team in the Mountain West for years to come that could contend for the Mountain West in that group of five spot. Barry Odom is a fantastic head coach. But as for Boise, I want to say this, Jackson. Did you hear what the commentator said about Ashton Genty at the end of the game yesterday? So I want to point this out. It was from, and what the commentators were saying, if you're a Heisman voter and you don't vote for Ashton Genty, what are we doing here? And they said Travis Hunter has all the spectacular stats, all the spectacular player and all this. He's going to be a first round, top 5 draft pick. But if you want to talk about the best player in college football, they said it's Ashton Genty, undoubtedly. What do you think about that, Jackson? The fact that they said that about Ashton Genty, that they said he's the best player in the sport, that he's the most valuable. What does that tell us?
Tells us they should be the Heisman winner. And, if he does win the Heisman next Saturday, he'll be the first non-power Heisman winner since Roger Staubach in 1963 at Navy. That's something to think about.
And that's the thing, too. Here's the thing, Jackson. Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty, not to go down the rabbit hole too far, they're both fantastic players. I think they're going to have bright NFL futures. I really believe that. It's a very subjective thing, in my opinion. It's like the NFL MVP. It's very subjective. It's all about what narrative are we trying to push. Because you can make an argument for either one, in my opinion. But if, like they're saying, if the Heisman is meant to be for the best player, then a lot of people would say Genty is the best player because without him, Boise's not here. But you can also, and I'll say this, you can make that case for Travis Hunter. Does Colorado go 9-3 without him on the field? What do you think, Jackson? Does Colorado go 9-3 without him on that field?
No.
So they both have the argument for best player. If that's what the Heisman Award is supposed to be based off, best player, then those two are your people. And it's just like the other candidates, like Dylan Gabriel and them. Oregon probably could have won the Big Ten without Dylan Gabriel. That's how talented I think they are. Does it help having an experienced quarterback? Yes. 100%, no doubt about it. Not even going to question it. It's all about if that player leaves the field, is your team going to be the same? And I think Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, and then it's everybody else in this race, in my opinion. And 1-2 says Genty only played against weak Mountain West teams. The playoffs will expose this. I don't know about that.
Well,
what do you think? What do you think, Jackson?
He's not wrong. I mean, Boise State has gone against a lot of weak teams in the Mountain West.
I personally think, Jackson, we could see a Cinderella this year. I think he's that good, but that's my opinion.
Well, they did have a close loss to Oregon, so I mean, there's that. But I mean, a lot of things can change between September and now.
Dave Walensky says shabby,
Yabba
shabba-doo,
dabba
yabba
do.
dabba doo.
Yeah, Scooby Doo.
Yeah. Arizona State should win the Heisman. You know what, Dave? Just for that, Dave, you made my night. Oh my gosh. Oh, but yeah. Goodness. Oh, goodness. And Dave says,
Yeah.
how's it going, guys? What a great day for conference championships. Agreed. If UCF under Scott Frost again goes undefeated, do they get their national championship T-shirt again? I mean, if it's part of their NIL collective, sure. What do you think, Jackson? You think they'll splurge for that?
Yeah. They'll probably do something like that again.
Yeah. But yeah, good win by Boise, though. I'm happy for them. And we'll see tomorrow afternoon if they get the bye or not. You know, there's a lot of opinions on Arizona State, Boise, who should get the bye. We'll see tomorrow.
Yep. And we'll see you tomorrow night, as Jack Buck would say for the playoffs. But Army smacked Tulane off the face of the earth to win their
Oh,
first
gosh.
conference title in school history.
That was a bad pick. I shouldn't have picked Tulane. What was I thinking?
That happens. And we got our buddy Will and D and co-star of the college basketball recap preview show saying, "Hey guys, I think they both get buys and Clemson doesn't."
Oh, okay. I ain't
Boise,
heard that one.
Boise State. Yeah, I mean, nothing's really gonna surprise me. Really, I mean, Boise State and Arizona State. I mean, it could happen, but we'll get to Arizona State here in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, good for Army Jeff Monken, though. What a fantastic season for them. If they just would have beaten Notre Dame, Army might have stolen Boise's spot, but they didn't, so good win by Army.
Oh yeah. But how about Jacksonville State winning that rematch against Western Kentucky?
Jackson, there's something about playing a team twice. And I remember when we did the preview, I even said WKU, they played them. Like we mentioned, they seen their playbook. They're like, okay, this is what you ran against us this time. If they flip it this way or do this with it, we know this is what's going to happen. And I feel like Jacksonville State came out more hungrier, more determined, because they didn't want to get beat a second time.
There we go.
Did you watch it? Did you watch any of that game, Jackson?
Oh, a little bit. I watched a little bit of Jacksonville State. I mean, that's my mom's alma mater, so it's like, of course I'm gonna watch it. And plus, Rich Rod's coaching there, so that's another reason why I'm watching Jacksonville State.
Yeah, true. I watched some of it because, of course, my nephew, he was in town, and he graduated from WKU, so we sat down and watched the whole thing. I'm like, do you want to turn it over to the Mountain West Championship? And he's like, no, I got to sit through this pain. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know why you're punishing yourself.
Well, I mean, on the bright side, Western Kentucky's gone to a bowl game. I mean, it's been this way since 2012. So
I mean, true. I did tell him that. I was like, at least y'all are going bowling. You won't get one of the better bowls, but you're still going bowling. It's not the end of the world.
yeah. But yeah, sometimes like when I've learned when somebody needs vent, I'm just like, don't even try to be like, oh, well, look on the bright side. It's like, there's some people, they gotta be upset. I say, let them. You just bring the best.
And Dave Linsky brings up, or if Tulane didn't lose to Memphis and go to that game, ranked Army could have jumped over Boise. Could have. But we avoided all chaos because this is just how everything works.
Well, before we get to the big ones, we're going to get to the appetizers, like the Sun Belt title game, where Marshall smacked Louisiana off the face of the earth. And,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's their first conference title since 2014. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because like
Yeah.
2014, they were like one of the last unbeaten teams that season with Doc Holliday.
Yes.
I was like, I remember watching like an old Western. They were talking about like Doc Holliday. It's like, oh, it's the old gunfire Doc Holliday. It's like, oh, they're Marshall football fans too, huh? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
anyway,
Jackson.
Marshall's coaching situation with Charles Huff. Apparently,
Mm-hmm.
he's not returning for 2025.
Ooh. Well, Jackson looks like he can't be offering no kids tutors biscuits anymore, I guess.
Well, there's some contract negotiations, and the University Marshall, the athletic department, was just saying that we don't think we should have you return for 2025. We're not sure about that.
Yeah, that's one of them, Jackson. It's a very slippery slope. Like Mike Gundy, we saw the same thing with him, which we'll talk about that at a later time and date. And I'm
Oh,
sure it'll get brought up during the off season, but it happens with coaches.
oh, I didn't know Sean Garner was talking with Mark tonight about when Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy were saying they should get in the committee. They should get in. The committee usually gives in, and Ward Manuel doesn't want to look like a hypocrite. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna get to that part about SMU in a little bit. Um, what's the guy's name? Like Timothy, I can't get his last name correctly. He was the star of
Timothy,
Wonka. He was one of the candidates to
yes.
play in the Elvis movie as Elvis,
Mm-hmm.
and he was
Mm-hmm.
today's guest picker on College Game Day. And one of the picks he
Mm-hmm.
nailed was picking the Ohio Bobcats against the Miami, Ohio
Yes.
Red Hawks. Like, I'm like, just because somebody's like, oh well, they dress kind of funny. Oh well, they're this, they're that. They don't know football. Well, apparently he does. He
Yes.
said himself, watch for this man, Parker Navarro. He's the reason why Ohio is going to win today against the Miami, Ohio Red Hawks. Or what? Who cares about Miami, Ohio? The Ohio Bobcats are more important because this is their first conference
Yes.
title since 1968. And Tim Albin is doing a fantastic job. Chalamet was actually really good as the guest
Charlemagne.
pitcher. I was ready to dunk it. Agreed, Will. I dunked on Chalamet as well. And you know what? I'm
Yes.
gonna start watching more of his movies now because he has earned
Here.
my respect. He's earned it.
Yes. I remember when they announced him as the guest picker, everyone on social media was like, "Who? What?" And a lot of people were like disrespected,
I'm
like
guilty.
like this outsider's going to come in our world, our place, and try to pick our games. And like you said, Jackson, before we came on air, all the college game day guys picked Miami, Ohio, and he picked Ohio, and Desmond Howard was like, ha ha ha, this kid just made a mistake. Ha 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 ha.
Oh,
Joke's on you,
Desmond
Desmond.
Howard. He's giggling like he's Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, going. He's just giggling all the
Oh yeah,
time.
that I got to get the hee hee hee, not the evil laugh, but yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
but yeah, that
god!
was. It's one of them things. I'm glad that he picked Ohio. Just now that the college game
Oh,
day guys will be like, well, we ain't bringing him back again. He showed us up.
yeah, yeah. There you go. I mean, and I can guarantee you, his 4-team playoff bracket is a hell of a lot better than Desmond Howard's from 2022. I mean, for God's sakes, he had A&M, Baylor, and Pitt in the 14 playoff in 2022, and he had A&M winning it
Mhm.
all.
Yes. Yes, we'll never forget that, Jackson. He had Texas A&M winning it all. I mean, in hindsight, it probably wasn't a bad pick because Texas A&M did have all the 5-star class, but knowing them, Jimbo
Having
couldn't run. He couldn't run a target if you
oh,
let him.
there we go. Now we get to the 4-course meals. You ready?
Yes.
The
Yes.
Iowa State Cyclones and the Arizona State Sun Devils in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 title game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jackson, I know Coach of the Year is very subjective, not suggestive, subjective. Yeah, would have said that term. But Kenny Dillingham, Jackson, is he making a case to jump Signetti? Like, think really, is he making a good case to jump Signetti for Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year?
That's a good point. That is a very good point. I'm loving that idea. I mean, either
I mean,
Dillingham or Cincinnati, it doesn't make a difference to me. But all I can say is, I mean, is there a way they can share the award? That's what I want.
yes, be co-winners. That would be nice if we can have like co-winners. Yeah, Jeffrey probably having a heart attack listening to me say that. But
Oh man, and he's not even 21 yet.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Kenny Dillingham took over what, just like Signetti, was a dumpster fire of a program. And the fact that he was able to, after all the penalties were put on him, and was still able to overcome in his first year in the Big 12, win the whole dang thing. How many coaches could say they've done that?
Agreed. Not a whole lot of
I
coaches go
mean,
from worst to first.
and, and here's the thing too, Jackson. I'll say this: if Arizona State doesn't get a bye, people better not sleep on them. No matter who the 5 seed is, if it's Texas, Ohio State, they better not. They better take them seriously. Because Arizona State's for real. Now, me personally, I didn't have them. I had them going 4-8. I think I've said that, and I was wrong. I think you told me you had them going bowling, right, Jackson? Do you have Arizona State going
I
bowling?
had Arizona State good enough to go bowling.
Yes, I had them going 4-8. I think I said that. Yeah, but Jackson, they've blown all expectations out. And here's the thing, Jackson. Next year, if they go 9-3 and don't make the title game, he's still going to be cheered because he's at Arizona State. It's not like he's at Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to bring this up, Jackson, since we were talking about it before we came on air. What happened to Iowa State, good buddy? You had such high hopes for
I
them. You were
know.
hoping they would
I
in that conference title
know.
drought. What happened?
They had a failure to communicate.
I mean, Iowa State still got their first 10-win season in school history. There is that, but they looked bad today. Like, they looked awful. After that first quarter, Arizona State just ran wild.
Ooh, they
And it was
smacked them
just
off
like,
the face of the earth.
and I'm just like, dang. I'm like,
Sam
okay, someone didn't come to play.
Sam Leavitt made some huge plays. We talk about Cam Scatbo. Sam Leavitt made some great
Scampo.
plays today.
Yes, Arizona State, you know, even though Scatboat won most valuable player, he got the championship belt, all that good stuff. Arizona State, like you said, they've got multiple playmakers at wide receiver, running back. Their quarterback's all right. I mean, Arizona State, they're, I think, one of those teams that you didn't see coming, but they put it together faster than we thought. Like, that's kind of what I got from them. They kind of put it together faster than I thought. And it also helps Jackson that they're in the Big 12 too. That the
True.
Big 12 is more wide open than these other conferences are.
Yep. There we go. It was like I think Jesse Palmer's thinking more about his stupid little Food Network show and The Bachelor more than he was, but he didn't give it the proper respect it deserves. So it's like, yeah, well, you can go lay off and worry about your little Food Network and worry about who's the cutest boy on The Bachelor. Oh my God. Ah! Yeah, no.
Oh Lord!
You got
don't
to
even
think about the
don't
Big
even
12
put that out
title
there.
game. You go over the Big 12 title game. You go worry about talking about K Jewelers and paint your nails or whatever. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, and I mean,
nothing
and here's
wrong
the
with
thing
that.
too.
It's just you got to think about the Big 12 title game there, Jesse.
Well, and I'll say this too, Jackson. Going forward, do you think we'll see Arizona State in more conference title games, or do you think this was a one-off?
It's a good question. I want to see more of it because I mean, it's their first outright conference title since 1996. But their first conference title of any kind since 2007, where they shared it with USC. And I remember because USC and Arizona State both finished the season at 7-2, and they played each other on Thanksgiving Day on ESPN, November 22nd of 2007. USC beat them. I watched a little bit of it when I was 10 years old, so it's like I remember that.
But yeah, this is a great win for Arizona State, a momentum building program win. And you know what this means, Jackson?
What's
In
that?
the next year, I could see Arizona State flipping some guys from Arizona, going across the country, flipping some people, getting a couple 5 stars. I think Kenny Dillingham, I think he's going to be, he came from the Dan Lanning tree. He built a physical football team. He's going to build the team in the trenches. Arizona State might be a team
Just do
that
not.
will be
All
around.
I ask for the Big 12 is do not be putting the rivalry week games on early November or early October. Just put them in rivalry week like they're supposed to. Or put them on Black Friday. It's that simple.
With Jackson, they got to get their ratings somehow. But
You can by putting them on Black Friday.
Well, Jackson, as you say, they didn't put us in charge. They didn't ask us for our opinion.
But they should.
Although I think our opinions they should. Our opinions would be much more better. I mean,
Yeah.
we would create a nice, good schedule. Notre Dame, USC, play on rivalry week. Arizona State, you all could play on Black Friday every now and then. Georgia Tech, you stay on Black Friday. The Egg Bowl, go back to Thanksgiving. We'd have all kinds of ideas.
Oh,
But
yeah. And
speaking of
put
that, Jackson,
Texas A&M on Thanksgiving as well. So it's like we can do like little. But so which would you like to cover first? The SEC title game or Clemson SMU? Your choice, Austin.
Well, Jackson, I got one way to tell you.
Okay.
Georgia's in the playoffs.
Playoffs? 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 I thought they were there to win a game.
Let's talk about Georgia, Texas, why don't we? Since that's the popular topic. Since Joe Tessitore was worried half to death, sick last Friday, that Georgia might not make the playoffs. For heaven forbid, Jackson. Joe Tessitore, you could breathe easy, good buddy, because Georgia got
They
the
should have had
qualifier.
Sean McDonough calling Georgia Tech because I mean he's out giving SMU their props, which we'll get to in a minute. I mean he's out giving SMU their props. You know he'd have been giving Georgia Tech their equal props. Like he'd be like, "Oh yeah, Georgia's gonna be in the playoffs with a win," but Georgia Tech should get some respect as well. But I mean, I'm sure that's going to last very long at ESPN, I'm sure. But, oh, well, he can go broadcast games on Fox and do primetime games for him. So, Your loss, ESPN. Fox's win. So screw you, ESPN. You suck. But of course, if you want us to come on your little rinky dink shows, we're happy to go be on there if you need us.
Yes.
But you have to
Jackson,
also come on our shows as well.
yes. And I'll say this, Jackson. This was a lower scoring game than I thought it would be. Like the defenses, like they were really like playing tight defense, like it was physical out there. And then Carson Beck went out with that elbow injury, and I'm thinking, oh boy, here it goes. Texas is going to run away with it, and Georgia's defense just keeps clamping, clamping, clamping. And Jackson, I know you're going to get upset, but I have to ask you: is Texas overrated?
Nah, they're fine.
Jackson,
I know.
I think it's time we have a little conversation. I know we put it to bed, but Jackson, that's twice now they played them and they haven't showed up. That's twice.
Well, you're saying though, let's see what they can do in the playoffs.
Because here's the thing, Jackson, your two best opponents, Texas A&M threw that game away, and then you come in here and you play a Georgia team who's probably physically and mentally exhausted, and you don't step on their throats. Come on, Jackson. Is there not alarms there? Like, if Texas is truly what they say they are and what they brag about, then why didn't they do it? Why didn't they beat Georgia? If Georgia was easy pickings. A lot of Texas fans were like, oh, Georgia, they're exhausted. Quentin Ewers and this offense is going to carve that defense up with all their back end injuries.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Jackson, I know you don't like the Texas conversation, but we have to
have to anyway. So, I mean, it's like you got to pay your dues sometimes. So, I'm making sure I'm doing it. I think, honestly, because like I was hearing a lot about Burt Auburn being overrated because of like some of the kits he made today. I mean, he didn't have a good day today, of course. But oh well, like he's usually better than how he is. And Hamas Hero has said Ewers isn't right. His accuracy is bad right now. There's been a huge debate among Texas about whether they should stick with Quinn Ewers or just, you know what, we got to shoot for Arch Manning. Matthew Miller and Jared Goodridge at Texas at the Voice College Football, they said themselves that, don't give up on Quinn Ewers. They were saying that. And there's been a few, like I said, there's like a few Texas people saying, no, cut the cord on Quinn Ewers. Time for Arch Manning.
Yeah. It's like that conversation me and you had a couple weeks back. Remember, Jackson, when I asked you, is it time for Arch Manning? Because a lot of Texas fans were like, Arch is the guy. He's from the bloodline of the Mannings. He's meant for this. He's born for this spot. And you were like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's not be hasty. I mean, what do you think, Jackson? If more of the Texas fans base starts this rumbling of Ewers needs to be benched, Ewers needs to go, do you think that Steve Sarkisian might pull the trigger?
I think he probably will at some point.
That's what I'm saying, Jackson. But you think he would pull the trigger this year, not next year, this year?
Oh, I know. It could just be kind of like, yep.
Ewers being thrown with the baby,
similar to Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, where Alabama's like,
yes,
we got to bring in Tua. It's time.
Yes.
So
I could
it
see
could
that
happen. I could see something like that happening. Like, if we see Quinn Ewers having a bad game in the first quarter of their first round game, it could happen. But it all depends on who their opponent is. I think if they're playing somebody like Ohio State, I don't think, and this nothing against Ohio State, but I just don't see the Buckeyes winning against Texas. I don't. It's like I don't see Texas losing to Ohio State, but some other teams,
Mm-hmm.
if they're going against Oregon, I think Oregon wins it. No questions asked. If they're going against Penn State, I think that's a toss up, but I could
That's
see Texas winning that one, whether if it's cold weather or
mm-hmm.
warm weather.
I feel like Jackson. Here's my thing with it is like you said, it all depends on the opponent. And here's the thing too, Jackson. If Texas, you know, here's the thing. Like Quinn Ewers is gone after this year anyway, correct? Is he a senior?
Yep, he's a
So he's
senior
probably
dog.
gone next.
He's a senior dog.
So he's
last
probably
year. Yep, last year he was a junior dog.
so he's probably gone after this year anyway. So let him finish it out. I just don't like when I hear these people fussing, being like, "Oh, you should put him in. You should put him in. It's all your fault. We need to fire you now." And it's like, you've come this far with it. Just finish it. Like Arch Manning's going to get his time. There ain't no question about it. It's not like you're going to bring in another transfer to take his spot. It's not like Miller Moss or some transfer or Salters are going to come through that door and take his spot. It's Arch's to be had. That's why he went to Texas.
Well, and our guy 1-2 was also talking about the ref cheating in overtime with the coin toss. Caught the coin toss to favor Georgia. What do you think about that?
So is that illegal? Like, coach me up on that, Jackson. Is that illegal for them to do that? Like, catch it?
No, but it should be.
Like, and this is a serious question. How do you cheat a coin toss by catching it? Like, if they look and say heads or tails, and you catch it, and it's heads, and Georgia calls heads.
Don't think.
Where's that controversy coming from? Like, why do people like explain that to me, Jackson? What's the controversy with that?
That is a no one on me, but it's just something we'll definitely have to read up on.
I'm just curious. Like, how can a ref catching a coin change an outcome? Because Texas had the ball 1st, and it's like, well, I guess maybe because Georgia is like, if you're talking about Georgia being the away team, designated the away team, I can understand that because it's in Georgia literally, so Texas would be considered the away team instead of the home team, if that's what they're trying to get at. But other than that, I don't know how a ref catching it would be cheating. Like, that's why I said, Jackson, you'll have to coach me up on that one. I didn't know that was against the rules to catch it.
Well, I think honestly, if Texas did win the coin toss, I think they would have done what Georgia did, just be like, we're gonna let Georgia catch it. Keep chopping says you could catch it or flip it onto your other hand. Common sleight of hand trick.
Oh, okay. I got you. He's thinking the refs did something. Okay, I got you. Okay, I understand where you're going. I got you.
Gunnar Stockton really stepped up to the plate when Carson Beck got hurt. Can we see him take over the town in Athens at some point?
You know what, Jackson? That kid showed a lot of guts and heart. Did you see? He got his head freaking blasted off his shoulders, and he pops right back up, and his teammates are all fired up. They're like, let's go. Let's do this. And it's just like, Jackson, it feels like Georgia had their mojo back. Like Georgia was Georgia again. They had that extra juice that they didn't have. Like,
He was hurt. Beck was hurt.
yes, Beck had I think they called it an elbow, MCL elbow kind of thing.
Yeah. Left arm.
Yeah, left arm, because he had an ice pack over his like elbow / arm. It's something in there. It had to do with like a tendon. And
No.
and that's one of my things too, Jackson, is when he went out, I was like, okay, Georgia's defense is going to need to win this game. And the quarterback comes in, and he just lights the world on fire. They've got juice in their offense. The running game's cooking. He's able to pass the ball, even though it's check downs and everything. He's a little more mobile, not as big as Beck, but Georgia had that juice going. Like, Jackson, we might have seen a rebirth of Georgia football tonight with him at quarterback.
I think we will, honestly. I think he's going to bring some magic for the Bulldogs. It felt like a relief pitcher coming in, according to Calvin Baumgartner.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too, Jackson. And they held Texas that field goal. Georgia goes right down, gets the touchdown, and they win. Ball game over. And it's like, and here's the thing, too, Jackson. He threw the interception, right? A young quarterback could have let that go to his head and been like, oh, man, I just cost my team the championship. Oh, what was me? But instead, he shook it off and took him right back down the field in overtime. Like, you know what? I'm not going to let this happen again. I'm going to put this in my hands.
Yeah. It was fantastic finish by the Bulldogs. And SEC football, I will answer the questions about Alabama making the playoffs as soon as we get done with the ACC title game. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about the Big Ten championship. Well, Penn State loses another one.
Okay, Jackson. Do you mind if I go on a rant for a minute?
Go ahead.
I've got some things. I got some things to say to Penn State. Okay, listen. I understand you're playing the number one team in the nation. I get it. But let me ask y'all something. How many turnovers are Penn State going to commit? How many stupid decisions are you going to make, James Franklin? How many bad things are you going to make happen? Are you not? Where's the Penn State defense that we saw against these teams where everyone was talking about this may be the most generational defense in Penn State history? Where was that at? Because that was nowhere to be found. First of all. And second of all, what is with the stupid play calling, James Franklin, on 2nd and 1 and you heave it downfield in double coverage? Really? Like, come on. Be smarter. It's 2nd and 1. You got 2 timeouts, the 2-minute warning, or excuse me, the 2-minute timeout. My apologies, college football. Heaven forbid you be compared to the NFL. But at 2nd and 1, and it's a too high single safety look, they've got help back there, and you throw it. What is wrong with you? Like, I'm not saying I could have made that throw or I could have drawn up a better play, but be smart. It's not like you're playing Maryland again. You are playing for the freaking Big Ten championship. Make smarter decisions, Drew Aller, James Franklin. You all had the potential to put every narrative to rest that Penn State is not the elite of the Big Ten. You could have put all that to rest tonight, but no. Once again, big game, James Franklin strikes again. And SEC football says James Franklin is 120 against top 5 teams. Jackson, I picked Penn State because I thought, you know what? Oregon, they've been playing with fire a couple times. I'm like, maybe Penn State, they're just that good. their front line, their front seven can slow down the running game, and nope, Oregon ran that ball up and down the field. Tez Johnson he could have called his girlfriend, and be like, "What do you want for dinner tonight, babe?" I mean, like he was just catching passes and just be like, "Whoops, let me get past this defender." Like what the hell? Pardon my language. Go ahead, Jackson, before I get us kicked off the air with their stupid decisions. Take it away, Jackson. I'm gonna get
If
us
you're
kicked off
getting us
the air.
kicked off there, then everybody's in trouble. But I was just wondering, what did I miss? Anyway, another huge win by the Oregon Ducks as the only unbeaten team in all of college football. They are, of course, going to be the number 1 overall seed. They're going to get a bye week. They're going to sit and chill, have their little pina coladas. Nets in 2 weeks from now. There's going to be like, oh, who are we playing? Who cares? We'll beat them.
I have to say this though, Jackson. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend that I could have called any of this game. Like, I have family members that were in football that coached it a little bit of every level, but as a fan, I get sometimes our judgment gets skewed, and you're like, okay. But Jackson, as a fan, and I'm sure you watch this game, if you know it's 2nd and 1, what are you normally going to call most of the time with 2 timeouts? Probably a draw play, maybe a little screen, something simple. Why are you trying to play action and chuck it deep when you know Oregon's going to play single high 2 safety, have one person back just as
I'm
extra
just going
help,
to go old
just in
school and
case?
go with like a little triple option play.
Exactly. It's simple football. Why do we have to be flashy and dashy? It's not like we're trying to win a contest here. It's not like was Penn State trying to get sexy points with the committee?
I
I
mean,
don't know.
there's really no rule saying that you can't go outside your playbook with a obscure play that with something you've seen from the 70s. I mean, try a little something that players haven't seen since like before their grandparents' time. So it's like, do that.
Mm-hmm.
What we got to lose? I mean, it's the
And
big game, so try it out. You got to win.
that's the thing too, Jackson. I think that's why Nick Saban. I think part of why maybe he left because he's like, you know what? I miss the old days where we could just run the football and not have to chuck it 20 yards on a 2nd and 1. I digress.
Ugh. Oh man, it's too funny.
And Hummus Hero says, people have been saying Ryan Day is the Nick Saban of James Franklin, but I actually think James Franklin is the Ron Zook of Ryan Days. Oh, Lord. Dang.
Oh my god.
Here's the thing, too. Oh, my gosh. And Keep Chopping says, that Penn State exposed that Oregon defense, so gave him a blueprint. Yes, I will say, other than the couple mistakes Aller made on the interceptions, Penn State did give the blueprint. I will agree. I will give them credit for that. And they did show, okay, here's what Oregon cannot do efficiently. Attack it. But here's the thing. Not everybody has – quit crying, Jeffrey. I'm not Jeffrey, Sean. Never mind. Never mind. Okay. I'm not crying. I'm happy for Oregon. I want you to know that. I'm more disappointed in Penn State because I thought maybe they could win. I'm more upset that they blew the game themselves. I don't care that Oregon won. Like, good for you all. Quack, quack. Go get in the pond now. I could care less. Like, good job.
Well,
I just put my reputation for Penn State, and they let me down again. Like, this is why no matter who Penn State's playing in the playoffs, I'm picking against them. Go ahead, Jackson. Get me frustrated.
It's a huge win for the Oregon. It's a huge win for the Ducks. And we're still going to see playoffs for the Penn State Nittany Lions, and it's going to be fantastic. And
Yes,
but
you're
the
the voice of
game that
reason,
we've all
Jackson.
been waiting for. The,
Jackson,
oh
I'll say
man,
you're the voice of reason. I want to say that you're the voice of reason here. So thank you. You brought me back down to earth, Jackson.
yeah,
You're
Penn
you're
State's
you're
in the
my
playoffs. They're
Batman.
fine. They're fine. Like the
But
teams
yes,
that are in the ACC title, they're in. The teams that are in the Big Ten title, they're in. They're fine. It's the ACC and Big 12 that really have to worry. Which, speaking of,
you,
and gentlemen, well, Austin, maybe we should let everybody call in. What do you think? Let's let them. Like after we get done with the ACC title, we. I mean, this is a midnight party. We let them party their butts off. I mean, we're alley cats. We're gonna party. So there we go.
we'll let them call in after the AC title game. Now, if you all come in here talking about Oregon's going to win it all, we're going to kick you out. I mean, we don't want to hear
We
that.
won't. No, we won't. We can let you
Party,
come
woo
on in
woo.
and Brad. No worries. But
Hey, Jackson,
this
don't make me find you, young man. Don't make me find you. I already had to hear you talk about Alabama was going to win it all before we came on air. I mean, don't make me have to find you again. But anyway, in all seriousness, go ahead. Go ahead.
this was a classic, and for a moment it looked like SMU was going to get smacked off the face of the earth going into halftime. And
Yeah.
SMU was
What
coming
happened to
back all
SMU?
over the place. I don't know, but I loved it. I mean, it's like you saw a good football team tonight when you got Sean McDonough saying, "I've seen enough. This team should be in the playoff." Like I've seen enough.
Here's the
And you got Dabo Sweeney at the post game, like in the post game interview, calling for SMU to be in the playoffs. That is, I mean,
yeah.
holy crap!
Here's the thing, Jackson. I'll say this. This was a really good game. And Jackson, Clemson is a bid stealer, right? Like you get in March Madness, right? You got bid stealers. Clemson will be considered a bid stealer, quote unquote. Make sure I quote unquote that. They'll be considered a bid stealer. The question is, though, Jackson, who gets hurt by this Clemson win? Is it SMU? Is it Alabama? Is it Indiana? Is it who do you think it hurts more? Because somebody's getting screwed. Now that Clemson is going to steal a spot.
I feel like SMU does get screwed. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like the committee, I think with everyone, like Sean McDonough and, throwing out that puberty voice when SMU is making the big plays and throwing out the voice for when Clemson was making that field goal, getting excited over the game. And it was like what you said tonight. Sean McDonough should have been calling Georgia Tech, not Joe Tessitore. He did a fantastic job calling the ACC title game because he was giving SMU their props and he was giving Clemson their props. This guy knew what was up. And callers, we will get to you in a minute as soon as we get done talking about the ACC title game. We promise you, don't you worry.
Yes, we'll go one by one.
There we go.
Control chaos. But I'll say this, Jackson. What about Clemson's field goal kicking game? I was listening to Mark Rogers before we came on tonight, and Mark had talked about how they had trouble, in the past with place kicking and all that. What about that field goal at the end, that kick return that set it up? I mean, what ending? You couldn't have asked for a better storybook.
Yeah.
I mean,
you knew Sean McDonough would throw the voice out for that game for sure, especially when Clemson made the game winner. It's like, oh my God. It's good. It's good. Clemson's in the playoffs. Well, I'll have to
And
rewatch
B
that
Bean
game
says
again.
that kicker was a freshman. And B Bean says great inning. Yes. Oregon Penn State, that was higher scoring than I thought it would be. And then this game here, it lived way past my expectations. I was simulcasting. I was like, okay, I got Oregon Penn State on the TV, and then I got my computer pulled up with the ABC app watching SMU Clemson. I was like, which one do I need to watch? And Ralph Wolf says SMU should be in. They lost to a playoff team on a last-second field goal and have two better losses than Bama. Yes. Jackson, you always say that BYU game, the most underrated game this year. Let me ask you, does that save them at all?
I don't think BYU saves them. I think their comeback against Clemson saves them. Yes, they lost to Clemson, but when you got Sean McDonough calling for you to get in the playoffs, when you got the team that beat you to call for you to get in the playoffs, you done good, kid. You've done good. You should be in. TCU and Louisville are their no wait. Duke, TCU, and Louisville are the best wins for SMU. Because
Yes.
Duke is 9-3. Louisville and TCU are 8-4.
And there's an argument for Duke and, of course, Louisville to be ranked. Even Mark Rogers even said there's an argument for both of those teams to be ranked. But if we do that, then Jackson, then we got to throw Miami in this conversation.
I'm glad we got to that point because SEC football was asking me a little while ago about, do I think Bama gets in? Yeah, but I think with enough pressure on the committee, I think SMU could get in. I think they could get in by a smidge. They could.
Yes.
As an Alabama fan,
Yes.
I would love to see Alabama get in the playoffs. But as an observer of college football throughout my whole lifetime, they should put SMU in. I mean, I'm not putting in a team that got smacked around by a sits Oklahoma 24-3. I mean, if I'm a committee member, I can't just go by what I want and how I feel. I have to go by what I've seen and what I haven't seen. I have to go by what I know and what I don't know. You got to go by what's up and what's not up. You don't go by how you feel or by what you want. You just don't.
And Hummus says, kick Indiana out of the CFP. Sorry, Jeffrey. People want to see Bama eventually play SMU. I know Jeffrey won't like that opinion, but I mean, that is an option. I mean, like Hummus said, the committee could be like, you know what? Indiana was a good story, but you know what? Get rid of them. Shoot. Because like we always say, Jackson, whatever they think will generate TV ratings, they'll make it happen. They'll make up some excuse like, oh, Indiana's schedule dropped significantly over the weekend.
Yeah,
and then we'll have to.
Oh, yeah.
Go
We
ahead.
keep chopping saying Sankey will lose his crap on the ESPN committee. Oh, he will. He will. There's going to be some cat fight.
Oh, here we go, Jackson. This is the matchup of the century. I want to see Bama playing the Fenway Park Bowl against UConn. Yes. Can we have that happen? Can I personally send in some money to make that happen?
Good first, like really, really good. And we've got
Here's the thing, Jackson.
Okay.
What we'll do, Jackson, is we'll donate money to it. We'll slip it to Ward Manuel. Be like, hey, just leave Bama out, but make sure you sneak UConn up the rankings so we can get this matchup done. Okay? Yeah. Like we got it. But yes, we've got callers, and the first caller on the line is
Sean Garner.
No. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
All right, Sean. Let me hear it. How's Ohio?
Do we have any other callers in the queue? You might as well bring them on too, so we can have a little party.
There we go.
Here.
Let's bring you on, Minnesota Dave.
There we
Hey, how's
go.
it going, Sean? It's been a long time.
Long time no see.
Absolutely. Too
I didn't
long.
know, but yeah, I didn't know you were in a debate about the broadcasters on ABC tonight. Like you had your shining moment. Nice.
Okay, so I wanted to say something. I was watching the end of that game, and Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy, they were like fawning over SMU. Dabo gave his like appropriate flowers I expect him to do. He says that they should be in the playoff. That's a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all that. You know, but here was the thing: McDonough and Greg McElroy were saying, if you both of them were echoing this, if you watch this game, you don't believe SMU is a playoff team, then I don't know what you are watching. This is, and I'm saying like they lost to the number 17 team.
Mm-hmm.
How does losing even a really good game to the number 17 team prove that you're one of the 12 best teams? What kind of logic is this? It's not
I
like
can easily say. I can easily say what kind of logic it is. They didn't lose to Vandy or Oklahoma,
okay,
and they
it's fine. If you want to make the case that SMU should be in over Bama, that is fine. but like saying like, okay, they played a team that's not even in pole position to be in the playoffs. Like that's a different argument. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, go ahead, Dave. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to like
yeah, I
prevent this.
understand what I understand what you're getting at. It's just that they went undefeated in their conference. Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
a great conference, but it's still their conference. B, if they got smacked around by Clemson and they lost horribly bad by like 2 scores, then I would
Mhm.
say, yeah, Bama should be in. But they didn't. They lost on a last second field goal and almost took the
Yeah.
game in overtime. And like I said, Bama lost to like Vandy and lost to Oklahoma. And those are, middle of the road to bad SEC schools, in my opinion. And I know both teams can't help what conference they play in, but I just think that SMU did the work enough to just get slightly over Bama.
I mean, like I won't be like incensed. I think I would put Bama in, and like as a Buckeye fan, it benefits me more to have the weaker team in. So I'm actually pulling for SMU to get that spot. I mean, like if I'm doing this logically, like comparing the resumes, how I see them, I see Bama having multiple quality wins through the season, and I see them playing legit competition on a weekly basis, and SMU getting by playing sludge through the year. I'm sorry, there's no participation. You got to when you play a schedule this week, you just have to take care of business. You have to lock your place in. Otherwise, no. I mean, otherwise you need a lot of luck. Otherwise, you need a lot of things to go right for you to get in. And maybe they will.
Yeah, and I get, yeah, but we also can say, well, does Bama take Indiana's spot then? Because Indiana's like strength of schedule is awful. It's just awful,
It's
and
better than
they
SMU's.
not
I
by
think
much.
No, not by a whole lot, but it technically, like by the rankings, the metrics, it is.
yeah. I
You know?
don't think
I
it
mean,
really comes down to SEC or Big Ten. I think it's coming down to Alabama or SMU. That's
Yeah.
what I think it really comes down to. I think Indiana's
Here's
already
the
in with their 11-1 record.
here's the thing that I want to bring to the table about Indiana. And if Jeffrey was here, he would say it too. Indiana smacked everyone around except Ohio State, whereas SMU still, even their wins that we're counting as good, Louisville, TCU, of course, and Duke, they were all close games.
True.
And then they started smacking teams around. And we thought Pitt, right, was going to be a good win. They were going to be a ranked win. And then we found out, no, Pitt. Pat Narduzzi lost it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was Pitt ranked when they played them?
Yeah. They were ranked pretty high. They were probably like 15 or something like that. I mean, Pitt was undefeated. I think that started Pitt's slide. I think they were 7-0 when they played SMU, and they finished 7-5.
Here we
go.
But
I knew they were a fraud the whole time. I wasn't surprised at all when they fell apart.
Here we go. And we have Hummus Hero joining us on the line. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Hey guys, I'm doing all right. It's kind of late here, but I'm up late. Nothing to do in the morning, so figured I'd join in.
Yeah, same here.
There we go. We're glad to hear from you, man. Because I think honestly, you're a guy that should definitely call in on more shows more often because you've got a great insight in all of college football.
Well, thank you. I try to be unbiased as much as possible, but it can be hard at times. But yeah, with the kind of debate with the SMU and Alabama thing, I think that people always go to this most deserving versus best teams. And I think sometimes the line is actually really blurred because when you're talking about most deserving or best, the equity and scheduling is so drastically different so many times that you just simply really don't know. We can use different metrics and you can say, oh, if they played an SEC schedule, if they played a Big 12 schedule, ACC schedule, when the reality is that you just don't really know. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say. Do I think that SMU would have went through the SEC a comparable schedule to say what Florida or Georgia or Alabama played and went through undefeated? No, definitely not. I think they would have lost probably one or two in conference at minimum, and they may have lost 3 or 4. Who knows? But that's why it's not an apples to apples comparison. So, the committee has a tough job on their hands. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of filibusters for sure.
No, it's definitely not going to be easy. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people bent out of shape, no matter which way they pull it. But I thought they put themselves in kind of an epistemological prison earlier this year when they said they're not going to penalize teams for playing a game this week. Because I mean, this is such an important data point. Like you only get so many high quality games a year, and I mean, and these are all every team that played this weekend played one of their toughest games of the year, and they revealed more about themselves this weekend than they did during most of the rest of the season. So why can't you take that into account? Penn State, I don't even understand the logic how you could possibly put Penn State ahead of Ohio State right now. And I say that just being completely unbiased, just no way. You stack everything together. It makes no sense to put Penn State ahead of Ohio State.
Here's my thing, and I know this is going to get a lot of you upset, but Michigan went 7-5 and you lost to them.
Yep. Oh, definitely. That's a bad loss. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know it's a bad loss, but also at the same time, we have 2 wins over top 10 teams. Penn State, I don't think has a win over a top 25 team this year. Penn State got to the title game in large part due to the schedule they played. They just avoided a lot of the teams that were good this year.
They do have one top 25.
They should have lost to the
Gophers. Illinois. They beat Illinois, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Illinois on NBC, September 28th.
Well, Well,
Look,
and
I
Sean,
And I've had
like
something handy.
I agree on these conversations when you're talking about conference teams and looking at the seeding here, like if it's two SEC teams or two Big Ten teams or whatever, in this situation, because the reality is that what happened tonight by Oregon, Penn State playing Oregon. In reality, what happened? Yes, it was an extra data point. It was an extra game for Penn State, but what it really did was it somewhat equalized Penn State's schedule with Ohio State's schedule.
Right. Yeah,
And I'm not saying
yeah,
that. So,
absolutely right.
and the league didn't do it on purpose. Things fall how they fall. But like the reality is, Ohio State, yeah, they didn't make it to the conference title game, but you can't really argue they had the toughest schedule of any of the three. Michigan actually had the toughest Big Ten schedule. If you look at it, it's not even close. But of the four teams that were in contention for the title at the end of the year, Ohio State was the only one that played the other three.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the other three completely avoided. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I would maybe say that in this very scenario, like maybe you could drop Penn State below them, but I don't know. Once again, that's a tough call. And the committee's going to have to kind of walk back their words, like you're saying, from earlier in the year. So, but that's the way that I look at it. I look at it that teams shouldn't be penalized necessarily if they're already firmly in a position to be in the playoff. But like with SMU, for example, I think it's just a really odd situation because did they really prove enough prior to this game to be in? You know what I mean? Like the committee had them ranked at that point high enough, but like what had they really proved? Like you were saying, their best wins are against like Louisville and Duke. And those are like decent
TCU.
teams. Yeah, they're decent teams, but like I mean, they don't have like a signature win that like sticks out. You know what I mean? So
And that's a great point, Hummus. And I want to bring this up. You can also throw Notre Dame in this conversation, believe it or not.
Easily.
And people are like Notre Dame. Ever since the NIU loss is running through people, but their schedule isn't really that bad either. Like
this was the
Louisville's
weakest
probably their
Notre
best
Dame
win.
schedule I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, Notre Dame and Indiana are like the same team. Like if you just take the logos off, ironically they're from the same state too. But like if you just take the logos off and switch them, like you wouldn't know. Like both teams, other than one loss, and Indiana's loss was better. Like they realistically didn't play very many good teams, and they ran through everybody else that they played. But because of Notre Dame's brand, they're potentially in position to get actually the most coveted seed. If they end up with the 5, that's kind of. I don't think Notre Dame should get the 5. I really don't.
No, I was saying they could end up with a 5, and they could end up making it to the semifinals without playing a single one of the 20 best teams in the country.
Yeah,
like it's legitimately possible. I mean, no, and Notre Dame. I mean, like it's just been weird. Like they've just been completely under the radar this season, which is completely antithetical to how I grew up. I mean, they got an insane amount of focus for what they were as a program, and this year it's just as soon as they lost that Northern Illinois game, everyone just forgot they played football and just sort of saw that they beat Virginia by 4 touchdowns every week. And okay, we're just move them up, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, like the brand's doing a lot of pulling for Notre Dame in this situation. I don't think you can look at their resume and say that this is one of the 5 most impressive teams in the country. And I think they're a really good team. I don't mean to cast shade on Notre Dame as a team. I think they might be undervalued actually as a team. I think they can do some real damage when they get in, but they haven't earned a cush spot in this. They haven't earned a place of privilege. I mean, like they have by far. I mean, like by light years, the worst loss of any pro team in the playoffs. this year. It's so close. And then they
Here's my
don't have like any quality wins. They're not in a conference. They didn't have to play a conference championship game. This is it's kind of absurd the privilege they're getting here.
So
They're a
basically,
moneymaker. That's the only reason why they're in.
So basically, from your eyes, Notre Dame is like the kid from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that goes, "I want it now, I want it now, I want it now." Correct?
Well, are you talking about the girl that ate the everlasting gobstopper, the blueberry?
No, the girl that was
Person, a big blueberry.
that
Yeah.
got thrown in the trash.
I want to.
That was a bad egg.
Mm-hmm.
I want a bean
Yep.
pie. That one.
I want to ask this, and feel free to chime in. Realistically, how many teams do you think can win the national championship this year? How many?
It's fairly large, I think, this year. I think if I had to say, I would say Oregon, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State. I might throw Notre Dame into that category too. And that's probably about it. Yeah, those five.
Well,
For now, I'll
ironically,
go with like 2 or 3. For me, it's Oregon, Georgia, Texas.
I don't know about Texas. I don't know. I'm not impressed by Texas. I think that they can't run the ball against Georgia, and I know Georgia has a good front, but I don't know. There's a lot of teams with good fronts that they'll have to come up against. I don't see Texas making it through. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'd give them a better chance than a SMU or Indiana. And maybe even Ohio State, because once again, Ohio State seems to not be able to run the ball. If they don't get something figured out, then I mean, the offensive line situation with the Buckeyes is really bad.
Yeah, that's why I'm very concerned about the Buckeyes and why I don't see them as a natty team is that O-line. And the Michigan game, I felt like I was watching a little bit of Charlie Brown at the pitcher's mound. I'm sorry to say, gentlemen.
Yeah. No, it's fair. It's very fair.
If you ask me, I have a hot take with this. I think all 12 teams could have a chance to win the national championship because everybody has a huge flaw. Every team has a huge flaw.
Yeah,
I think Oregon is maybe the least flawed team. But I don't know. Then again,
their defense was bad tonight, though.
Watching them tonight, their defense, and the reality somebody else pointed out earlier, the 3 best offenses that they played all put up considerable points and yardage against them: Boise State, Ohio State, and Penn State. So maybe there's something to that.
Well,
if they have an off night offensively, they're done.
Yeah.
Like Oregon, they're going to be sitting and chilling, seeing who they're going to play from 8 or 9 from the winner of that game on either December 20th or let me see, December 21st. But Oregon's we'll see them again on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. But all I could say is to everyone, don't get drunk on New Year's Eve. Don't get drunk because there's a lot of college football left over on New Year's Day.
So if I understand this correctly, if you have the higher seed, you get to choose which bowl game you play in on the New Year's slate, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, so Oregon will very likely be playing on New Year's Day in the Rose Bowl. I would imagine that's where they'd want to play.
And Georgia
and the Sugar.
Georgia will probably pick the peach. They'll probably pick the peach because that's in Georgia. Sugar, that'll either be. Well, I'm trying to think who would. Because we were having the argument about who gets the other 2 buys.
It could be.
That's going to be that. I think Boise's very likely to get one of the other 2 buys, and then it just comes down to Arizona State, Clemson.
Arizona State is gets one of the buys in
They got the
in the next
Fiesta Bowl.
several hours. They're going to be in the Siesta Bowl.
Yeah, I think Arizona State with their performance today, I think they should get that bye. I really
They
do.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that performance was just so great, just so dominant on a game that I actually thought was going to be actually close.
I just wish, like, 'cause I like Joe Tessitore, but he's been irritating me with his crap from
How
last Friday.
about this?
today.
This, you know who did you see in the preseason media poll, Arizona State was expected to finish 16 out of 16
Yes.
Yep.
in the
I
Big
had
12.
Arizona State
And,
as
and,
good enough
and,
to make a bowl game.
and the top two teams in that poll were Utah and Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Yeah,
Who
We
went-
all fell for them.
you know who else was
See, here's
who won one combined game, and that was because they played each other.
BYU was also really low. They were picked to finish like 14th, 15th, something like that.
Yeah, they were very low. Not much.
Here's the
I'm mad about BYU Utah being on November 9th and not being on Black Friday. That was just so bad that they put it on November 9th. I mean, I'm glad that they put it on Big 12 after dark, so that kind of salvages it, but come on. We gotta give the BYU Utah rivalry some more respect.
Mhm. And here's the thing I want to bring up. You know, since we've got all this good conversation, I want to bring to the front Miami because Cam Ward and the Miami AD are talking a lot of smack about how they're getting cheated, that they're playing better defenses than some of these other teams. And Cam Ward says, if you watch us play, you can easily see we're one of the best 12 teams in the country. Yada, yada, yada. We can win a national title. And they're saying all this, and the AD said it would be a disgrace if you leave us out. What do you all think about that?
It's a crock.
Don't
it's
lose to
good.
Syracuse.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? Don't need the officials to help you to beat Cal. Don't get into dog fights against marginal teams every week. Learn how to play some defense. Learn how to not commit a million penalties a game. I mean, just learn how to be a professional outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, on the bright side, we
more.
can see Miami in the Pop-Tart Bowl. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Hot tops are on the uppie. They're yummy.
Well, that's one of the things too. If that happens, Jackson, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the Miami players just opt out and say, "Screw it, we're not going to play in this bowl."
Oh yeah, there'll be tons of opt outs for Miami, definitely.
And then whoever plays them, people are just going to take that victory, no matter who they play.
Cam Ward has played his last college game. You can bank on that.
Oh yeah.
Xavier Restrepo, he's gone.
I have a question.
Okay.
In the Pop-Tart Bowl, does the coach get dunked with Pop-Tarts at the end of the game?
I haven't seen that yet. That would probably hurt. That would probably hurt, like that frosting. That's probably pretty hot when they
pour more.
They got that. So they got Pop-Tart getting some. He's acting pretty bad, isn't he?
Are you guys toaster strudels or Pop-Tarts?
I've never had a toaster strudel in my life, so I have no frame of reference.
Really be able to have either because they got wheat in it, so it's like,
yeah, Jackson's a fun squasher.
Wait. Pop-Tarts have wheat in them?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yeah, the pastry's wheat. It's technically wheat.
Oh.
It's like not the most
wheat lip from eating something that's contaminated by accident quite a few times throughout my life, so that happens. But it's all good.
Is it gluten-free for you all the time, Jackson, then?
Yeah. But no worries. Like anytime I gotta eat something that's usually not at home, I usually have taken Enzilaze and Innate Flora. protects me from getting sick big time.
All right, is that something with your guts then? Just has a hard time at digesting it?
It's an
My friend
allergy.
has the same problem.
But luckily, there's allergen-free Pop-Tarts, I believe.
Oh, it's an allergy. Okay.
So it's like there's no problem there.
Okay.
So
It's
you've
just
been able to.
like
So you've
You'll have
been.
to remind me to tell you some of my past tales one of these days, which I won't do that tonight. We came here to talk about the Pop-Tart Bowl. We came here to talk about the playoffs, the conference championship routes, all of it.
Okay. So going back to what we were saying a while back in the conversation about teams that could potentially win the national title, I think one of the craziest things, if you had to ask me that, and I wasn't saying who's going to be in the playoff, I think South Carolina could win it.
Yeah, that's not a crazy take. I really don't.
no.
I don't think so.
South Carolina's probably played the best football coming down the stretch of anybody, in my opinion.
And what's unfortunate about that is they might have been the team that got screwed the most because there's no reason they should have lost that game against LSU. I mean that was a complete hose job in that game. You know.
And here's the thing too.
So
here's the thing too. You can throw Alabama in this conversation of teams that could still win the Natty. As bad as they've looked at times, when Alabama wants to play, Alabama can compete with anybody in the country.
yeah, okay, Austin. I don't disagree with you there. It's just I've seen nothing from them this season to make me think that they can put 4 games like that together. I've seen nothing. I've seen nothing to make me say they can be consistent 2 weeks in a row, let alone 4.
That's one of the biggest things when we're talking about this. Like, and I'm looking at the SEC in general, and I'd probably lump Ohio State in with this also, and saying I just don't see the consistency. And that's one thing you can say about Oregon. You can say, well, their defense isn't that great. And maybe they're getting exposed when they go up against better offenses. But, like, one thing you can say is they found a way to win every game. And nobody else has done that. So there's something to that. So right now, I mean, I think Vegas probably has Oregon as the favorite to win it all, I would assume. And I think that's logical. You know what I mean? I think that from what I've seen, I think that if I had to place a wager, I'm not a big sports bet guy, but if I had to place a wager, it would probably be on Oregon.
I would put a wager in. I would put a wager on Arizona State just to see if I can get more money out of it.
Yeah. Just play the odds here.
Yeah.
It would be an odds play for me. I don't know. Notre Dame's probably got pretty low odds. I might take them.
Honestly, call me crazy. I would probably place a bet on Georgia if I had to, because I feel like they could put a stretch together still.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, someone's going to have to do it, right? Someone eventually will be the champion here, right? We're poking holes into all these teams' resumes. Somebody's going to win all these games.
It feels so odd going into this with most teams having to go through 4 games and then everybody at least having to go through 3 to win this thing. It's such a different feeling.
Oh yeah,
I kind of like it. I think it's gonna be fun, exciting, and I'm at the point now where I hope anybody wins other than the SEC. I'm sorry, I'm tired of the SEC winning. Somebody from the Big Ten, ACC, somebody please step up.
Well, the Big Ten did win last year. The Big Ten did win it last year, Austin.
They did.
Yes. Can they win it again? Because I love the reel to death, but if the SEC wins again,
oh my gosh, man, that was a wild show.
Well, I mean, like, could you imagine if somehow like all the SEC teams like what SEC teams are going to be there? Georgia, Bama, Texas,
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay.
Tennessee.
Yeah. So could you imagine if they were all separated into different quarter brackets and they all made it through and it was just an all SEC Final Four?
God.
Now,
Don't put that out there.
if they do that, then me, Jerry will have an orgasm right then and there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, don't put
Oh my
that voodoo
God.
out
Like,
there.
the
If that
Alabama college show, if that happens, like I'll be like, come on in, everybody, come on in. You know I will. And oh man, it's like you'll definitely see some wild guests for sure.
Oh, if that were to
Here's
happen, the real MVP would transcend this existence, and he would reside in Shangri-La.
No,
Oh man.
you,
yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know
He
something?
would, he would have said he would actually leave his bodily form, and
You know
I
what I just
remember where
realized,
oh
guys?
my God. Like it was so funny when he called in on
What
Michigan,
was that?
the Michigan New Year's Day game after they beat Alabama, when he told John face
Oh,
face
Lord.
where he was like, if Michigan had lost to Alabama, well, I mean, everybody would have looked at him like TCU. I'm sorry, John, but that's just how it is. I mean, that's how everybody would have looked at him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Does Kentucky still have a chance?
I want to throw this out here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We
the
haven't brought
real
him up.
Saturday Night Live.
I want to throw this out here, but no one's mentioned this yet. Tennessee's still sneaking around out there. They're
Oh,
in the
yeah.
bracket.
Yeah.
Does Tennessee have
yeah.
a shot?
And well, you know what? I want to say, like, I felt like I bought a lot of Tennessee stock on bad faith earlier this year because I legitimately thought this was an elite team, and a lot of that was premised on thinking that Nico was a legit offense, was a legitimately top 5 quarterback in college football, and that this offense could really scale well against good defenses. And I haven't, and like that's clearly not the case. If TCU's strength is their defense right now, and I mean, like this offense is just, I mean, it's hit or miss. If they go up against a bad defense, I'm sorry, they look just phenomenal. If they go up against a good defense, they're mud. I mean, they have a hard time moving the ball. So, I mean, like it's, I don't know. I mean, they're a team I have a hard time seeing them scoring enough in these games to win
Because
all of
Yeah.
them.
How cold is it supposed to be in Columbus? Because aren't they predicted to go to Columbus?
Well, they might. If Ohio State gets moved to the 8, then that's a very plausible first round matchup. Yeah, generally around Christmas there. I know Hummus lives closer to there than I do. It's normally like 20-ish, 30s, right? 20s, something like that.
I mean, it's really, you know how Ohio is. It's really hard to say. Like, around Christmas time, I remember years where it was like 55, even 60 degrees outside. But then I also remember years where it was like literally 0. So, you know, anywhere in between there, it could be potentially. Like today it was about 38 for a high. Tomorrow is supposed to be around 45. And then the middle of the week's supposed to be in the mid 20s and then back up to 40. So, you know, I would predict that it's probably going to be like, if it's a night game, it'll probably be pretty cold. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
even on the warmer days this time of the year, it gets cold at night. So
Yeah.
it'll probably be in the 20s or 30s when the game's played. So,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting thing because if you remember a while back, Gene Smith, when they first unveiled this format for the CFP, he had talked about potentially having the Buckeyes play if they hosted in Lucas Oil to host the home game in
Yep.
Lucas Oil Stadium. And it seems I think it's actually
that's why the Super Bowl.
it might actually benefit Ohio State offensively to do that
Yeah.
But I don't know. Then the defense plays really well in the cold weather, though. So you're helping your offense, yeah, but you're also probably going to take something away from the defense. So I don't know. I guess it would depend on the matchup.
For sure.
Mhm.
Well, one thing to remember, gentlemen, like we've all seen NFL playoffs, MLB playoffs, NBA playoffs. And there's one thing to remember, just because you're a top 4 seed or you got a bye week doesn't mean you're automatically going to win it all. And I think we're definitely going to see that in the college football playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it does mean you have a great advantage over the other team.
Well, the way I see it,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what advantage you're at or what disadvantage you're at. It matters what you do with the hand that you're dealt with.
Yeah.
That's the way I
Well,
look at it.
what I think we can expect to become sort of a yearly tradition is the 9 seed belly aching that they really should have been the 8 seed
Ugh.
here and complaining that they should be getting that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've seen people say,
And our good friend Erica Goldberg posted a really, I thought, good post on Twitter tonight. She said, it is basically the whole job of like ads and coaches just to complain now about the. I think she was talking about the Mountain West commissioner, basically lobbying for Boise State to be a top 4 seed.
Were they like
And I'm
drinking a
like,
bunch of wine or something? Like, good God.
no, but I mean, it is amusing, like how soft a lot of these people have been. Like, I mean, like, I mean, no, why? I mean, like, just take what you've earned. Like, why are you publicly pleading for a lighter path here? I mean, just it looks soft, and it's all the coaches and all the ads and all the conference commissioners are doing it now lately.
Sure.
Like they're politicking for for an easier path.
Oh yeah. I mean, we
And
know.
it looks kind of pathetic.
Oh yeah. I mean, we see a lot of lobbying sessions on like, oh, there's one on ESPN on Sports Center. Oh, well, there's a lobbying session on halftime for the Big Ten title game or the ACC title game. Oh, we're gonna see the lobbying session after the Bachelor. Like, oh my God. Oh my God.
So
yeah.
do you think that when Dabo was talking after the game, do you think that was like an ACC like wink wink nudge nudge that came from like the commissioner or where he was saying SMU, oh, they're definitely a playoff team. Do you think that was really his opinion, or do you think that was kind of a conference thing where he was just saying we should get 2 in?
I think it's a conference thing.
I think it's a little of both. I think Dabo has got that character where he's like, if he thinks, oh, if we sneak SMU in, they might give us a bye. Because he might be thinking, oh, we got to be prepared to go play on the road in, say, Texas or something. And he's like, what if we get SMU in and it'll help our case to get a bye better.
Yeah, it would help Clemson's resume for sure if SMU was in the playoffs.
That's true. I actually didn't consider that. That's a good point.
Yeah,
I would give
sure.
Arizona
'cause they
State the
want the
bye before
bye.
I give Clemson the bye.
Yep. I mean, I agree,
would
but I think
too.
it's going to be
With you.
it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to be very close. I'm not sure which way they're going to go on that.
I agree.
I really don't.
I just don't think that Boise should get the bye. I'm sorry, but the G5 team was kind of a token,
Hello?
kind gesture to even give them an automatic bid as a 5th conference. And I know Boise's a decent team, and they may be better than the average G5 team when this happens each year. But once again, you're talking about not apples to apples. I don't think that they should be evaluated the same. like everybody's saying, the best notch on their resume is their close loss to Oregon. Like, I mean, they beat UNLV twice, but I mean, that's really all they have. So
Yeah, sure.
let me get this straight, Hummus Hero. If it was up to you, if you're making this bracket, the G5 team would be off the map. It would be the ACC, Big 12, and the top 4 champions, and then everybody else would play their way in, right?
In the current format, yeah, I think that Boise should just be seated where they should be seated. You know, whether you think that that's above SMU or not, I guess that would be a debate. Or Alabama.
But do you think the G5 team should get a spot in the playoff, or just no?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's fine. You know, inclusion's a good thing, but I mean, and this might come off as, oh, you're a fan of one of the big conference teams, you know, when I say this, but I just I don't like the auto bids in general. Or not the auto bids. I don't like the first for the buys going to. Yeah, I don't like that setup. I think that the 4 teams that are seated, they should be seated according to rankings, is what I'm saying. Top 4 should get the buys.
Yeah,
I
totally agree with that.
Yeah, and then I mean, then this whole, like, you wouldn't have this weird situation where, like, the 5 seed is actually the best spot in the bracket. These weird, you know, because, you know, I mean, it would be a lot more straightforward if you just said, okay, we're just gonna, like, take the top 12 teams and then we're gonna seed them according to how we rank them. That would seem a lot more fair.
Here's my thing. I don't mind the automatic bid, because if you win your conference, that's a great reward. You're safe. You're good. No more sweating bullets. We don't have the Florida State sticky situation. The buys, I can understand why, because that gives, say, Oregon 2 weeks to prep for the winner of, Ohio State, Indiana, the winner of that game, if they ended up on that side of the bracket. I can understand why people are like, I don't like that. That's not right. But it works for the NFL, so the college world is like, let's try it. Let's see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that they have a fairly considerable gap between the first and the second round games. It's like a week and a half there, right? Or is it 2 full weeks?
I think it's like 10 days. Or
10 days,
9 or 10, depending on where you're at. Well, I guess potentially maybe
10 or 11.
Potentially it could be 11, if you were the Friday night game the first time and the New Year's Day game the second.
Yeah, so it's you both teams have a considerable amount of time to prepare.
Right.
It's not that extreme of an edge.
Yeah. Everybody's getting at minimum 9 days, so there'll be a couple extra days of recovery and a couple extra days to prep.
Yeah. So
I like the way that it's set up. It's just gonna, like I was saying before, it feels odd going into it, and it feels odd that the playoff games are all gonna start before any of the bowls. Like, usually it's like these lower level bowl games are like the appetizers to the bigger bowls and the CFP. But this year it's all different. It's like the first round games are the appetizers, and then you have like a little wine and cheese course in between or something like that. With
absolutely.
Games.
This is
it's like we're eating
the old Stanford wine and cheese.
It's like we're going to tapas bars in Madrid or something. It's a weird feeling.
No, that actually, I one of my favorite places here in town is a tapas place, and I do kind of like the way they roll out their menu.
Their wine and cheese.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, it's fun. It is like you get the nice you get sort of a main course first, and then like a mid course, and then another little course. They're all small portions and stuff, but Yeah, shout out Sanchez on Fulton Street in Grand Rapids. It's a great place. Great place if you're ever here. If you're ever here, hit me up. I'll take you to Sanchez anytime.
There you go.
Oh
All right,
boy.
all right.
Hey, I heard that there's a Polish Mexican restaurant in Grand Rapids.
Oh, I'm sure the West Side's like all Polish, so they probably have a Mexican restaurant there somewhere. But I'm not on that side of town
It's like a
all that
mix.
often.
Yeah, it's like a mix. It's called like Roberto Lewinsky's or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like a
I've
it's a, it's like it has like like uh like salsa pierogies or something like that.
Yeah, like you.
well that sounds exactly like something that would be available around here.
But
In Grand
being
Rapids.
But being, I remember Sean's had a few episodes on After Dark where he went without the beard. Like it's like Sean's great with the beard and without the beard. It's like Alex Trebek with the mustache and without
That's
the
how he got
mustache.
That's how he got his future wife with his beard. You know, he's just rolling in money. He got the
We've never
supermodel
seen-
wife.
Here's the thing. I shave. I mean, it just grows so goddamn fast. When I do shave it, it's back the next week. Like just, I'm
One
a
of these
wolf. I'm
days
so.
we'll have to see the Sean Garner mustache era.
Oh God, no,
Damn, that's 1 week of beard growth. I could probably.
no. This is not. This is like 2.5 months of beard growth right here.
There you go.
No, I was completely shaven at the start of the season. I know.
Come on. The mustache era is needed.
Another problem I have, I don't grow any facial hair at all, like in my philtrum. You know what I'm talking about? Like right in the middle here. So having just a straight mustache with like with this little split down the middle.
That piece of chia pet.
Chia.
Dude. John, I'd rather take your beard because I just can grow a goatee and everything's whiskers.
Yeah. At least mine does grow like evenly around the jawline. No, but Dave showed up on camera one time at calling in the Mark show, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know why he doesn't do it more often. I mean,
My
he's got a strong
my
look to
camera
himself, man.
my camera looks like shit. That's the thing. That's the reason why like I have to get it's all hazy on top. And if I hit the light on a certain part of the light the wrong way, it looks like half my face looks like it's in the clouds. Looks like I smoked like a whole bunch of pot and just have like this whole entire face in the clouds. Everything's just so hazy. I'll show it to you.
Oh man. Like, there
Yeah, see?
Whoa.
If you hit the right,
goes
just
Tay,
right.
man.
There you go.
Just wrong.
You do have to kind of be like you do have to kind of like stand still in a spot to get the right
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, and I also like the other thing is I like the pace when I talk. So it's kind of like I can't. It's like just a
Uh-oh.
Look,
Dadgummit.
looks all foggy in there.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's like Dave's and Cheech and Chong's van almost.
Oh yeah. Well,
Dadgummit. Golly.
I can easily do that right now if I wanted to, but I just don't do it on camera.
Okay, my StreamYard's being a pain tonight.
Oh, I'm gone. Oh,
But yeah, gentlemen, before we sign off, Sean, what have you got going on in your adventures?
Okay, well, you know what I have going on tomorrow night at about 10:30 ish, right, Jackson?
Yeah.
Sean,
We will.
Sean, we do not talk about that on air. Sean, We do not care about your OnlyFans, sir.
Just
for that, Sean?
It's only $50 an hour. What? Like, come on! I can at least ask.
Okay. We'll let you slide. We'll let you
Okay.
slide as long as you get Jackson the discount. He likes seeing that kind of thing.
No. Jackson's in on the profits here. He's
Oh,
he don't pay.
good idea, Jackson. Let me know how it works.
But Sean, what
So-
we got going on X and on Blue Sky, man? Tell us
Okay,
what you
well, I did want to say, Voice of College Triple After Dark tomorrow night. We will be recapping the exciting weekend of the championship games as well as the revelation of the playoff bracket, and it should be just a fun, wholesome, professional, event affair full of decorum and polite, genteel behavior, as it is every weekend. And Jackson is there almost every weekend. I imagine he plans on joining us tomorrow night as well.
I should be. I'm back tomorrow night
Right.
but I've told Bear the Beagle, do not be afraid to holler if you need me.
Absolutely, of course not. No,
Mhm.
that we have to for our loved ones first. But that's where I'll be tomorrow night, and then not a whole lot else going on the rest of the week. So hopefully maybe we'll meet again next weekend or whenever this next thing is done.
So,
And
Sean,
Right.
you just made a great segue because me and Jackson would like to share some news with you because since the playoffs are such a hot topic, me and Jackson decided Monday night we're going to be back here and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get your all's thoughts, reactions. We'll even take some calls. So if you want to come back Monday night, join us and we'll get in on the debate. We'll even talk Ohio State and why they should be left out if you want.
Right, absolutely. They definitely should be left out. We're too good for the playoffs. So
Yes, I think Minnesota should be in personally.
right.
That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Row the playoff boat here.
Yes, yes. Well, I do see that we will be in probably next year. I just think our schedule, we get a little bit more of an Indiana type schedule next year. So
Is Brosmer back next year?
no, yeah, actually, he was a
Well,
grad transfer.
The Big
Yeah.
Ten schedule, like we know who's playing who, but we're gonna know when they're playing their opponents on Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
on the Big Ten Network, and then hours later will be the SEC schedule announcement. Although we're gonna have to wait till January, mid to late January, early February for the ACC schedule release and the Big 12 schedule release.
Nice.
I don't want to wait very
Yeah,
long.
we don't like to do things on time.
Do it now,
Our
baby.
conference likes to make
No,
you wait.
I didn't want to say Spaz was the one who initially asked for the call-in link, and then he never showed up, huh?
Yeah, it was like, come on in. It's like, yeah, oh well.
Well, here's the thing. He started picking on me. And I even told him, I said, I have no problem with y'all
He
winning.
was
I'm
picking
more
on
upset
me.
Penn State let
No
me
worries.
down.
He was picking with me a little bit, but no worries. It's all good. Oh man, he's funny as hell. But that's why I like our running gag on After Dark or on any show Spaz on is God damn it, Spaz. It started with Ben saying it, but I've gotten to a point where it's like I'm even having to say it to Spaz.
Jackson, that's $5 in the swear jar. Pay up.
Pleasure doing
We do not
business
say
with
God's
you.
name in vain.
Pleasure doing business with you. Oh, there you go. Cash got that.
Yeah, put it back in your own channel. You're monetized. Put it back in your own channel.
But there we go. Tune in to see what the magic that Sean Garner's got on X and on Blue Sky, and you can check him out on CFB After Dark every Sunday night on the Voice of College Football. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss his takes.
All right.
There we go. And Sean, I'll be seeing you tomorrow night. Good buddy.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure meeting with all you guys. This might be my favorite. This might be my favorite panel that I've ever been on. I'm not bullshitting here.
There you
Really
go.
Well,
enjoy it.
thank you. I should be a part of more panels. I miss the old Big Ten show.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
We're good people here.
John got too carried away with his Michigan stuff. He thinks he's like an insider now. He thinks he's Isaiah Hall or something now.
Oh gosh, that was the one thing I got a little bit annoyed with John. It's like, I don't care about the fucking scandal anymore. Stop talking about the damn scandal, John.
Here's one thing
We
I will
love
say.
John Dion, though. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
No matter what team you root for, we can all still love each other at the end of the day. That's how I look at it. Whether you're
Right,
Ohio State,
right.
Indiana,
Absolutely.
Minnesota, Louisville, we're one big community here.
Yeah. Those dickheads on the Michigan channel, I still love them. So
Yes, and even though there are Kentucky fans roaming around, I'll accept them in if they want to call in.
But yeah, remind me to see if we could set up another Sean Garner the real round 2 debate.
Oh Lord,
That'll be fun.
That might be till 5 a.m. They might
That's
be up
all
till
right,
5
mate.
a.m. on that
We're
one.
here for it. We'll have to start doing $100
Especially
for
if
every
it's
hour
Ohio
on
State versus the
Alabama
SEC.
channel.
Especially if it's
Mark,
Ohio State versus the SEC.
we don't have that much of a leg to stand on in that debate.
That's all right.
Thomas can back me up on that one historically.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
we'll
that's
definitely need the SpongeBob narrator and a new one. But Sean, you have a good night. Sleep well. I'll be seeing you soon. You stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out.
Oh yeah, very cold here. It's like 20 degrees. So
Get a lot of blankets and long sleeves. Goodbye. I'll
Take
see
care.
you.
It's 13 degrees here.
13?
Yeah,
Where's it colder where
13
you?
and snowing actually.
it's 45 in Minnesota.
There
What
we
the
go.
hell is
You got to
going
think, I
on?
live in Kentucky. I don't live too far from you guys. I live in Kentucky. I'm like right in between Jackson, you Hummus, and you Sean. I'm like right in the middle of all you. I'm like the center of it.
Well, we
Dave
will
over
be
here
seeing
next
you
to the
later,
lakes is getting
Sean.
good weather.
And Dave, it is your turn.
All
Be
right.
seeing you, Sean.
You can catch me on here sometimes, and you can catch me at the University of Minnesota working and cleaning the carpets. That's where you will find me.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it. I don't have a YouTube channel yet. I'm thinking about doing something
So,
with friends. I'm thinking about doing something with friends.
you-
Eventually talk about Minnesota sports, but nothing has come up yet. So
so, so, so what you're telling me, Dave, since you work at Minnesota, you could be our insider source. What's the source? What bowl is Minnesota going to get? Have you heard the word yet?
well, a lot of people are saying Duke Mayo, and it's between Duke Mayo and Music City. And
Yeah, I can see that.
I would rather have like the Duke Mayo Bowl because I want to beat up on an ACC team. But it'd also be great to play against the SEC school in like the Music City. I would prefer that we go to the Great Rate Bowl because I will be in Arizona for Christmas and I can easily make that bowl.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this: if you do play in the Music City and play an SEC team and win, Dave, you can always brag to Darrell you beat an SEC team. So there's
But
a
we've
positive
beaten
to that.
SEC teams and he just doesn't believe in it.
Oh,
That's the
that's right.
funny
Minnesota
part.
did beat an SEC.
Dave,
We've been three
if you ever
SEC
want
teams
to
in
call
bowl
in,
games.
if you ever want to call in on the Alabama call-in show Thursday night on Alabama Voice College Football, you are more than welcome to. I don't know if Darrell is going to be a regular. I've got a feeling he will be. So it's like maybe I can set like a little 10-minute debate between you two.
I would love to have a debate with DeBrill because, I mean, I'll be honest with you. He has great takes sometimes, and then some of his takes are like, dude, did you like eat paint chips as a kid or something?
Did he eat what?
Did he eat paint chips as a kid or something?
Yeah.
Lead.
Well, in DeReal's eyes, Dave, in DeReal's eyes, the SEC should have 7 teams in this playoffs. That's what he says.
Well, you got to remember though, guys, part of it is his real opinions, but also he's being, how do you say it, a provocateur, and he's kind of playing
Yes.
character. So, and I think
Yes.
when
He,
Mark likes it because it's exciting. It gets more conversation going and controversy, and so a lot of it's that. Like Durreal's too smart to actually believe some of the stuff that he says. It's just hard to tell the line where the real Durreal opinion and the character began and end. So you
Yeah.
gotta exactly.
like last week with Ohio State, I think DeReal was like, he got Mark fired up, which it takes a lot to get Mark fired up. But when you mention Ohio State, you better come prepared because Mark will kick your butt if you don't have your facts in order. Like him and DeReal went at it over Ohio State Ryan Day. It got ugly.
Hey guys, I have to get up for the Vikings game, so I'll talk to you guys later.
We'll talk to you later, Minnesota Dave. Glad you called in, and you stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out. Thank you for calling in, man.
See you later, guys.
Don't let the Gophers bite.
See you, Dave.
And now we head over to Hummus Hero. What magic you got going on your adventures this week?
Oh, I don't know how many adventures I'll be having this week, but I've been talked back off of the ledge since the Ohio State loss, and I'm doing better. My mental state's better now, and I'm over it. So it's a good thing, and I'm enjoying the football, and the holidays are coming up, and I enjoy talking to you fine gentlemen on an evening like tonight, and I'll be looking for you on more of your call-in shows. Maybe on Monday, if I'm able to, I will. I'll make that one of my adventures for the week.
There we go.
So, but I appreciate you for having me on, and it was a great conversation.
You're always welcome, Hummus.
Oh yeah, it's always awesome.
You're always
hanging
welcome,
with you, man.
All right, well, thank you, guys.
You're good people.
Thank you.
You're
find
welcome.
gentlemen as well.
You have a good night and sleep well, and you stay safe and stay warm. It's cold out. Get yourself a lot of blankets and a lot of lawn sleeves.
Oh yeah, heated blankets.
There you go.
And cats and dogs. See you guys later.
See ya, Hummus.
See ya. Well, Jackson, it's just the two of us, like it started. Yeah. But Jackson, there's a lot of great things coming up. And one of the hot topics this week, we just discussed them quite a bit, is Alabama. You know what, Jackson? If people want to come and talk smack about the Crimson Tide, if they want to spit on you all or stomp on your argument, the best place to do that is
or give us their love, give us their love, give us their hate. They can come on in at Alabama VOCFB for Alabama at the Voice College Football. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss another video whatsoever. And I can tell you right now, Johnny Burtz and I have some wild adventures on Crimson Tide Live every Monday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Central Time. And Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports and I take your calls Thursday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time, to hear your takes on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And let me tell you something, it's always a fun blast hearing everybody's takes. Like this week alone was huge on this week's edition of the College Show. We had 5 callers. We had Lucas Hill call. We had our buddy Sean call. We talked a little while ago about the Sean Garner DeReal debate. Like, that was wild.
DeReal called.
Yep, Darrell. Like, oh man, it's like it's a good show when Darrell is calling. So it's like,
Yes.
yep, and it's gonna be fun and fun-filled magic when Sean Garner's calling as well. And we had our buddy
Yes.
Will calling, Lucas Hill calling, Mikey G calling. Oh my god, it was a lovely call in. And you can see the 15th edition of
It,
Crimson Tide Live, the highest viewed edition of Crimson Tide Live since we started the show in late August, where we were
mhm,
wondering if we're in the playoffs. We just want to win a game.
mhm. And I want to say this, Jackson, because I know you're a humble guy, but I'll say it for you. If you want some of the best Alabama news, information, coverage in the world today, go check these guys out. Johnny, Jeffrey, and of course my partner in crime, Jackson. They're some of the best guys to do it for Alabama. They're honest. They give you their real opinion, and they do it the proper way. You know, so give them a check. Check them out. Leave them a like. If you disagree with their opinion, when they have the call-in shows, call them. They'll talk to you. Like, they're very open to it. Alabama at the Voice of College Football, you're allowed to voice your opinion, and you won't get penalized.
Mhm.
It's one of the best things going in the world today. So go check them out. And while you're at it, if you feel so obliged, you can check Jackson out too. What great stuff do you got coming, Jackson?
Well, of course, I've got Pitt's analysis with you, special edition, and the bowl stuff. And Wednesday afternoons, I've got the college basketball recap preview show with Will and D. We're going to be making some magic on
Mm-hmm.
there, talking about the latest on college basketball, including Marquette's marquee win against the Wisconsin Badgers amongst the topics. And we're going to wonder whether UConn's rebounding nicely or not. And I've got some more magic. I don't know who I'm going to be having on for the rest of December for the Jacksonian, but I can promise you're going to be very happy with who I have on. That I can promise you. That you're going to see a lot of them from the sports world, college football, NFL, college basketball, potentially NBA, and some more MLB people. I'm going to see if I can learn a little more about NHL, see if I get some of those people on. But I'm making sure I bring on some pop culture people and people in the politisphere, hear their takes on politics here and there. And I can tell you right now, you won't be disappointed. And for more updates on what I have to say on my channel, on my personal channel, and on Alabama with the Voice College Football, follow me and give me a lot. See what I have to say on Jackson VOCFB on X and on the Instagram and threads at Jackson Johnson 543-908. And I'm 112 subs away from that magic number 500. And I need all the help I can get to getting to 500 on Jackson Johnson 979. So I need all the help I can get getting to 500 and then get to 1,000, 2,000, and much, much more. Austin, what have you got going on in your adventures this week?
So obviously, like I mentioned, I let the cat out of the bag, as they say. Monday night, me and you will be back here live and in person to break down and discuss the playoff rankings. We'll go over the top 25, discuss where we think they got it right, got it wrong, take some of your calls, get your all's opinion on the matter. It'll be a more call-in friendly show, so call in, come talk to us. Do you think Indiana should have been left out if the committee puts them in? Come tell us why. We're open to hear your opinion. Do you think Alabama should have been left out, but they got put back in? Tell us why. It's what we're here for. It'll be Monday night. And then, of course, we've got Bowl Mania coming. We'll be putting videos out on that. And we'll be predicting the actual playoff games in themselves. And, of course, we'll go live after the playoff games end. So after the first round gets completed, me and Jackson will go live, recap that for y'all, give you all thoughts. I didn't do call-ins on that. But we've got a lot of great stuff working for you guys. And it will not stop until January 20th, because that's when we crown a champion, and then we can rest. But until then, there will be no rest. We will be up till 6 a.m. if we have to be. I promise you that. Now, do I want to be up at 6 a.m.? No. But we will get up at 6 a.m. if we need to do a show. I know Jackson's like, oh, God, please no more 6 a.m.s. Well, Jackson, you got to catch the early bird, as they say.
Yeah.
But that's what I've got going on in my world and on Twitter. I do my normal. I ramble about college football, pop culture, the Nuggets, the Cowboys, of course, Louisville. Keep an eye on where we're going bowling, all that good stuff. But
There you go.
final shout out to all of our conference winners. Congratulations, Arizona State, Oregon, Clemson, Boise, Army, Jacksonville State, Ohio. Congratulations to all you guys on a hard work worth of season. Congrats. Enjoy it. You don't know how many you're going to get. And we'll see who makes the playoffs starting tomorrow at noon.
There we go. And with that being said, we wish you all a good night.
Go Cards.
Stay well, stay safe, stay warm. Like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you do not miss another video whatsoever. And we will catch you next time. Roll Tide,
Go
everybody.
Cards.